Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say so.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. Today we are live in the studio with your host for the evening show, Pete Walker. It is Sunday, July 30th. Happy Sunday, happy July, and most importantly, happy football season. You got to feel that. Although SEC media felt like it kicked it off, I feel like it's official now. It's definitely kicked off. The boys are back. The media is out. We got Billy's State of the Union we got to go over today. Obviously, he spoke to everybody. We had the Grill in the Ville just this past weekend, which seemed to be an absolute hit. I'm going to talk about that a little bit and the importance of it. We talked about it on Wednesday, but kind of watching how this week unfolded, I kind of forget, like, look, all of these guys that are 100% committed and say they're, dialed in, they haven't signed the dotted line yet. So maybe there's a few guys that were maybe leaning or swinging in a few ways that this weekend probably helped on them saying, no, I am bought into this team, this culture, and what Billy Napier and the boys and the goons are trying to build is something special, and I'm bought in. I know Aaron Childs was one that I don't think we got a 1,000% commit nod. We've got some noise from him, obviously, this weekend that he was committed. DJ Lagway is there. And Jeremiah Smith is set to visit tomorrow, which is something that we got to obviously talk about. Another big noise, another big opportunity for Lagway to seal this in. We had Miles Graham on, remember, not too long ago, and he didn't think that Jeremiah Smith was within reason, but Colin Simmons was. That has shifted, I think, in the last 30 days, and that happens, right? Things change, things evolve. It is what it is. I don't feel like Smith is getting a lot of love from the Buckeyes Nation from what I'm hearing. And look, he visited Florida State, which we're going to talk about that too, and now he's visiting Florida. I think he's trying to find a new home. Obviously, his boy Josiah Trader's in Miami. That's still up to be, for verdict. That's still up to the jury to see where he ends up landing, but a lot of stuff to go over. Then we're going to talk about Wardell Mack as well. He visited this past weekend. Somebody who I felt when his top 3, I think it was, or top 5 came out, I didn't feel like we had an opportunity to close in on him because we had the likes of, Jawari Howard, who we felt heavy on, Mincy, things like that. But since then, those guys have settled down a little bit. Howard visited FSU, right? I still feel good about Mincy. We had the crystal ball with him early on, or, on 3, whatever their version of a crystal ball is. But all of that noise has settled down a little bit, and I'm pretty sure Wardell is rated higher than all those guys. So it would be an upgrade if that were to be the exchange, and I would, be okay with that, I'm sure, as the rest of you are. Happy to have all of you here. Happy to see you all. 169 on a Sunday afternoon just gets me fired up. Okay, I don't know about you, but that gets me tickled up and gets me all fancy. Fun fact, Shelton doesn't own 2 of the same cups. That is a fun fact. I keep it spicy, boys. You know what I'm saying? I gotta keep it jazzy, keep you guys on your toes. Smith is going to watch Marvin Harrison Jr. ball out and get paid. Going to be a tough flip. It is going to be a tough flip. I totally agree. Lewis says, let's go Hurricanes. Let's go. I love it. Buck Waits says, we'll get Wincy. Love that energy. Tyler Elliott, FSU better tighten up. Some of this shit getting flipped. Watch what I tell you. All right, make sure you guys drop a like, show some love, subscribe if you are new here. 181 in the chat. I love it. Daniel D, normal guy, how you guys doing? Caden Andrews, Daniel Riviera. Gators only winning 3 games. I love the energy, Bubba. Jay Money, let's go Gators. I love it.
Scared money don't make money,
I love it. Good to see all you guys here. Matthew Walker, how you doing, man? Good to see you, man. Flip Josiah Trader, another possibility there. Gator Nation 14, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Happy to have you here. Harrison Sanchez, here we go. Evil Will, let's go, man. How you doing? Smash the like button. I love it. Jeff Finch, I'm him. I love it. Michael Maples, Thomas Hyde. Good to see Travis Everett. We here. Good to see all of you guys. 190 in the room, humping and bumping. I'm loving it. You guys are great. You guys always show out and always show the love. And I can't thank you guys enough for always being a part of the crew here. So first order of business, we've got to talk about it. Billy's State of the Union. First media day in a long time. And honestly, look, I talked about this after media week. they had the votes that came out. Vandy landed themselves a 5 votes, I believe, to win the SEC East, or to win the SEC, 8 votes to win the SEC East. And I claim that, look, a lot of it had to do with how they felt the interviews went, how they felt the conversations went with the coaches. That was a tell on how, they felt what was going to come out of this season. And if we go back to last year, we do these every year, or we've been doing this since Billy anyways, every interview, I should say. Every time Billy has a State of the Union address, we typically will go through it, and I'll give you my thoughts on what is he trying to say. I didn't get a lot of coach talk this time. There was a small bit, but he was kind of just telling you how it is, which was very refreshing. There was a lot of great questions today. I don't know if their questions were better or if he just was just tired of just trying to play politic and just gave us a damn straight answer. Either way, I loved it. A lot of good stuff that we got from this interview that I'm excited to talk about and excited to see what is to come, obviously, for this season. I mentioned this a few weeks ago. We're in the honeymoon stage, boys, okay? Everybody's excited. The what had happens last year is it's long gone. We're fresh. We're ready to go. He talked about depth and his excitement about depth and the comparison from this year to last year. Very interesting take on that. He also talked about, is he a better coach from last year? Very interesting take from Billy as well, because again, to be able to say like, hey, I am better, or I'm not better, there's a point of emphasis there that I want to go over, because it's very easy to go, I think I'm just the same person. And also there's some balls to say I am better, but I think the way he said he is better is something interesting to note. So we'll go over that as well. Open practice is happening this Saturday. I'm working with the Victorious Now, the collective, to see if we could possibly be involved with that in some shape or form or fashion. It is open to Victorious members. So if you're not a member, become a member and use the code HIGHTOP. You guys get 20% off your first month, and it lets us know that, you guys are liking what we're putting out. But again, it's one more opportunity for the Gators to continue to increase their NIL footprint. And Billy also addresses the NIL footprint and why the importance of this practice. Again, phenomenal State of the Union for Billy there. Really did enjoy it. But let's make sure we drop over 100 likes there to guys before we get moving. We're going to get moving regardless, but show some love, drop a like. So, first order of business, depth-wise. Somebody asked, like, hey, what's your perception on the depth from last year to this year? And he said, I feel like we're in a better place. Shocked. You had me, coach. I'm listening. Talk to me, right? He says, we have some guys playing. They're talented, right? He goes, the guys that we will be playing, they're younger than last year, but they are talented. This was the coach speak, though. The 1 ounce of coach speak. Basically saying, look, the guys we had last year just weren't cutting it. They weren't, Gator talented ball. They weren't, Power 5 conference. They weren't SEC level talented guys, but I think the guys that we have now is much better. We're in a much better place. We will be playing younger guys. Expect to see that. And again, I think that speaks to the Xavier Henderson leaving camp. It's not because of the merch situations. I think it's genuinely because he saw the writing on the wall. These young kids coming in, the class that Billy Napier set out and recruited with Aiden Mazzell, Andy Jean, Eugene Wilson, come on with it. They're coming. Arlo Sportingham, which was the class prior to that, it's their time, right? JaQuavion Frazier, he was going to be my Dark Knight last year. He's sitting in the second fiddle right now. He's sitting in the second seat. Mullen guy. Again, I'm not trying to, play hardball here, but facts are facts. So love that he believes that, because he was very adamant last year that, hey, here's where our concerns are. Here's where our struggles are. Depth is an issue. We got to find these things. We got to go do these things, right? It was very honest, which I appreciated, but constantly in the fix. Didn't get that vibe this time. Feels like he's in a good place. The team's in a good place. We're going to get into that a little bit further out down the interview, and it just gets better. It really does. Somebody says, are you a better coach? Great question, by the way. I mean, talk about just sending the troops in day one, right? Boys are frisky. They've been tucked away for a couple of, months here. They're ready to start firing off some questions. Love it. He goes, he thinks so. He's saying he's much more aware of the arena. He's more calloused, right? Love that analogy, right? Kind of just, you've been shoveling some time. You're used to this by now. I'm trying to learn how to play the ukulele, and I could tell, right? Obviously, I'm getting a little bit of build up in the fingers there, and you kind of learn that obviously over time you start getting that callus that you're used to it. And look, I think that's something too important to note, is he says, I think so much more aware of the arena. And this is why I like the hire of Billy in the first place. Comparing him to Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly is, think about this in a real world scenario. You're getting hired for a manager position. You've got two options. You got the manager that is extremely experienced, 10 years under his belt. You know what you're going to get out of that guy coming in off the rip, right? Then you have the young guy, not much experience, but huge upside. Both options are great options, but it depends on where you want to go. Billy was the young guy in the room. He was the young potential with the high upside. There is a risk there involved. That's part of it. But the exciting part is he came in, he established a situation, got ran over a few times, where somebody that has multiple years of experience, a.k.a. Brian Kelly, wouldn't get ran over like Billy did. But the young guy, and the reason why you go with the young guy is their ability to adapt, their ability to evolve in that situation where that old guy, they're not going to evolve as much. They've got their way of doing things, which is fine. But I think what the Florida needs right now is exactly what we got with Billy Napier, somebody who's going to push the envelope, and the ceiling is much higher. We've seen the ceiling with Brian Kelly. I don't think Brian Kelly gets it done with LSU. I think he's got a great football team. I think we'll see some exciting things. But he proved to me at Notre Dame that you just don't have that killer instinct in you. Could be wrong, but that's my take on it. We don't know. The verdict is still out for what Billy could be. So that was exciting. Again, he admitted. I love that he admitted it, right? But that's kind of my take on that. So exciting to see where he's going to go. Now, let's talk about the open practice a little bit. Obviously, the open practice is again, reminding you guys, August 5th. So if you're a member of Victorious, hang out, go check that out. Pretty sure you can check on their site how to be a part of that. Hell of an opportunity for the fans to go see that. It's a little bit different, I think, than a spring game. The spring game is more of a show, right? This is practice. This is what the NFL does. I love this style of play here. They're going to be signing autographs, talking with the fans after the fact. And they ask, what's your thoughts on this? What was the reason for bringing this back? He goes, look, it's tradition. This is something that I wanted to get back to after COVID. And it also, two parts to this. It speaks to where he is in his organization, which we have been honing in on over the last few months. I have anyways. Talking about he just seems more in tune, right? He's caught up now. Everything that he walked into that arena was a little, starstruck. He's one step further. To add this to the schedule shows that I'm confident in our ability and what we're able to do. This isn't going to phase my team. This isn't going to phase our guys. I want to give back to the fans. I want to give to the players, give them an opportunity to extend that hand. And he said, look, it's an NIL opportunity, which it is. Which we're putting money back into these kids' pockets because they're going to be hanging out, again, signing autographs, doing their thing, able to build their name, image, and likeness brand. I'm loving it. It's a double whammy here, right? You're killing two birds with one stone. You're making the fans happy. You're making the players happy. And again, this is a big step because to do this, you're trusting that your guys will be able to handle the noise coming into the arena and still being able to perform. It speaks volumes, guys. It speaks bigger than I think we can see on the surface. So I love it. And again, a great event. Hopefully we can be a part of it. We're waiting to hear back, and we're excited to possibly be a part of this as well. Well, before I move on, let's see how you guys are doing. Hi, Top. Do you have any news on the hurricane? Yeah, I think I saw the spaghetti models. You guys are a tropical storm at this point. No, I don't have anything at the moment on the Hurricanes, boss. Sorry, Lewis. Outside of your Ruiz struggling. Let's see here. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. I feel that. Napier was in his bag today. Why do you say so? Why do you say that? Can we play the interview? Yeah, I can pull the interview up in here in just a little bit. As we're talking about it. I didn't typically. Sometimes we watch it, but the questions were good, and I kind of just watched it for you guys. Here's the last little part here, which I loved. So they're going to be putting players with a random roommate throughout this month, I believe, or this week, and they'll also be eating all their meals in the dining hall and having their phones put away for the entire duration, I think, of the camp. So for the next month, maybe 2 months, maybe just a month, maybe 3 weeks. I think he said 3 weeks. I think he said 3 months. I think he said 3 weeks. Because honestly, yeah, we have a good football game in 3 weeks. So 3 weeks until game one, basically. And what this reminded me of is remember the Titans, right? Where you're trying to build this brotherhood with everybody. You've got everybody bought in. You're forcing everybody to talk to one another. And I've got an old friend of mine. He's in his 60s. And I went on a sailboat with him and his older friends. And no music was played. I'm a big music guy. I love having music played. But he didn't play any music. And we're all just sitting there, which they're older guys. They're well versed in this. As myself, you guys can tell I like to talk. I can ramble to nobody. There's nobody even here, and I'm having a conversation. However, no music and just forcing yourselves in this little area on a sailboat forces you to talk to one another and learn about one another. And he used to do that on car rides with his kids. He wouldn't play any music, and his kids would get pissed. Dad, put music on, whatever. And it's a distraction, which forces all of you to talk. By the end of it, they'd have great conversations, and that's something that he's always done. And I appreciated that. This reminded me of that, right? Where you're forcing everybody to look at one another. Because it's very easy to be distracted on your phone, just sitting there eating like we do it now. We do it at the dinner table. And again, it's an old-fashioned approach to which I think is going to have a huge impact, which I love. He's also doing a Know Your Teammate quiz. And this is something that reminded me of what Bill Belichick does. I heard on Julie Edelman talk about it the other day, where Bill will go, Julie, what's number 75? What's his name? And basically, if you don't know his name, he would just roast you for it. He would ask you who the lunch lady was, who the janitor was. They're doing the same thing here at Florida Gators. He's like, I want them to know the equipment manager, the guys that are helping clean up around the stadium or whatever it may be. You need to know that, hey, look, everybody in this facility is part of our success, and we all need to have humility of who we are. I love it. I love it. Look, you can tell me other schools are doing it. That's great. That's cool. I'm happy for you. This is the first that we're hearing about it. And again, he's walking in here. He's going through this interview with a swagger about it, with a confidence about it that I love. I'm love hearing it. Let's keep showing some love, boys. Drop a like and subscribe if you are new here. Loving every minute of it. So, how was he answering the question? Seem more relaxed? Yes, very cool. Let me look at it. This clip right here was from him chit-chatting about it. Cool as a cucumber. You know what I mean? He doesn't feel exhausted, doesn't feel irritated. He feels like, look, we're going to be good. You guys just sit back and relax. It's going to be a good time. I felt like last year he was trying to sell the idea that what was happening was good, but now it feels like he believes what they're doing is good, which is something that is hard to tap into. So that's how I feel about it. But let me see if I can pull up the interview really quick for you guys so you can get a little bit of taste of just hearing him talk about it and hearing him answer some of the questions. We'll pull that up right now for you guys. Great question there, Trav. I love it. Pull it up here for you, and then you guys can listen to it for just a minute.
And really, am I doing what I would expect of other people? And I think you got a chance, right? There's no doubt in this arena that you have to have that perspective as an organization, as a team.
How do you judge that outside of wins and losses, that people care about that?
Well, I think we have work to do, and I think, again, I'm talking about the next 21 days, right? We'll evaluate what's next after that. I think if we're going to allocate our energy and effort and time to getting our football team ready, technically, but also the team dynamic. Building a team is building the football part, but more importantly, I think it's building that human element. You're sitting in that locker room for those games. You're looking around the room. There's absolute trust with every person in that room, and that's what we're in the process of building.
Billy Fransbeard, Gator, but last year there were so many close calls, a play here, a play there, and all of a sudden you're a 9 or 10 win team instead of a 6 and 17. How do you change that mentality to, we got to make that play, we can make that play, we have to make that play in an off season?
Well, I think the cool thing about where we're at is lots of parts of our building, players and staff had to go through that, right? And I think when you have adversity, I think it presents opportunity. Right? And I think the key here is that we grow through struggle, right? Anything that's been built, that's accomplished anything significant, went through some adversity, right? And I think it's all about how you respond to that. But there's technical aspects to playing winning football that in those games that we lost, we just didn't do what we were supposed to do, right? And then there's an emotional component relative to how you're going to respond, right? Are you resilient? Are you mentally tough enough to continue to be consistent? And ultimately, take a good look in the mirror what is your role and how can you do it better to help the team, right? So we've got a core group of people that went through that with us last year that are back.
And look, I love hearing that. Again, just the going through the downfall, right? Having that adversity, that is something that's huge, that is necessary for growing. And when you've got a young team, you're going to have a lot of adversity, and it's how you respond to that. And that was something I spoke to a lot last year too, even with the adversity and the downfalls and taking L's to those games. Going out and losing to Vandy and then coming back and play at FSU the way they played at FSU speaks volumes to the team and being bought into what Billy is. And this team, I believe, and it's been talked about and spoke about time and time again, is much more bought in to what Billy is doing now than ever before. So I'm loving it. I see you guys got some questions here about the Grill and the Ville. We're going to get into that, so sit tight. Where do we stand with David Stone? I feel like that's just more of a hat on the table, to be honest with you. I haven't heard much about David Stone coming this way. It looks like it's an OU lock. So if things change, we'll obviously be keeping tabs on it, but I haven't heard much noise on the David Stone situation. Obviously, you see our lineman room is pretty thick. And I know, LJ McCray is somebody that we've been pretty heavy on. He's visited Georgia this weekend. All of the players were tweeting at him. He tweeted a picture of Kirby, and Xavier, Miles, and a few others were tweeting at him, basically saying, like, come home. So I think he's definitely one of our top targets on top of a pretty thick defensive line already. And that's my thoughts on that. Let's see here. Defense is going to be a monster. Yeah, I love it. We are flying under the radar, folks, and that's a fun place to be. Dave talked about it. I love it. I love being the where Georgia is too, but being the dog, the literal dog, not the Bama made up, our backs against the wall bullshit, but just genuinely where nobody's even taking a look at you anymore. It's a fun place to be. You don't want to be there too long because it means that you're not doing well, but I don't mind being there from time to time. It makes you appreciate it. Bro has so many tabs. I got to keep it running, brother. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't judge. Don't hate me on that. DJ says FSU whooping that ass this year. I don't know, DJ. We'll see. Callie, what's up, big dog? Good to see you, man. Happy to have you here. Just got another commit. FSU just did land a offensive lineman. FSU's doing very well in their recruiting. I got to give credit where credit is due. Jay Smith, I thought we all agreed he's just playing around, toying with us. I thought we did too, Callie. But we got to talk about it. Honestly, that's next order of business here. We got to talk about Jeremiah Smith and what this entails. He's set to visit on Monday. He visited Florida State this weekend. I do have some concerns about Jeremiah Smith because he said this weekend that Mike Norvell's the greatest coach in college football. I don't know if we want somebody that has that kind of mindset. Clearly, he's got some things he's got to work out. I don't know what he's looking at, but what's up, Smith? You know what I'm saying? I know FSU is pushing heavy on them. We got some FSU guys on our Discord channel. If you're not a member of the Discord, join that, become part of the Pigskin family. I think it's like $2 a month to become part of the Discord, and we do giveaways and whatnot. We've got fantasy football coming up that you can be a part of as well. And also, again, drop a like on this video and subscribe. But look, they're pushing heavy after losing out on JoJo Trader. Not saying that's out of the mix just yet. Miami seems to have some outside issues going on with their money bag, and John Ruiz seeming to get slammed right now. But let's see about again, Jeremiah Smith, what's happening here. So he's visiting Monday. DJ Lagway is extending his visit at Florida from this weekend from Grill the Ville. Jeremiah Smith was not there, but he will be there on Monday. This to me feels like a business meeting. It's not an official visit. It's not like we're hanging out. What is there to talk about? I'm hoping that it could just be some finalization. Like, let's really figure out what's going to happen here. Where do we need to go? This is promising. I genuinely felt that the Jeremiah Smith thing was done and over with, but he's coming back to Florida. And there's no way he's coming just to hang out and visit. I don't believe it. I think there's some final discussions on possible NIL deals, seeing like, hey, look, this is what Ohio State's offering me. This is what Florida State's offering me. Here's some of the things that I need. And look, if you got a guy come back to your place to say, here's what I need to make this work, that's promising. That lets me know that he's highly considering Florida. Again, this is all hypothetical, but I'm looking at the situation here. He's visited Florida plenty of times, and he's coming on a Monday after visiting Florida State for the weekend. It's a business meeting, and DJ knows that, and we've got to close here, boys. And I'm loving that we've got another opportunity here. If we're able to to close in on Jeremiah Smith, we're going to hop into the calculator a little bit later on because we know we like to do that here. And we've got a few other guys that we're honing in on as well. The class, again, is looking to be elite. They talked about it again from this weekend at Grill at the Ville. A lot of the players are like, look, this class is going to be exciting. We're excited about it. Josiah Smith was talking about landing a top 20 prospect and cornerback, which we're going to get into here shortly. So these guys are hungry. They're chomping at the bit to land an elite class. And look, I think Fletcher Westphal, he's definitely a big component to that class as well. We had him on the show where he spoke about, look, we understand that this coming up season may not be the flashy season that everybody is hoping for, that we the fans want, because we want, gratification right now. But we're bought into with the process. And I think this Grill in the Ville this weekend, we talked about it again in the past show. It isn't being used for future, like pulling in recruits. It felt like it was a solidifying event plus extra future. Like I'm talking 2025 and 2026 guys. When in the past, it may have been a recruiting time where you were trying to bring guys in that were on the fence. Last year, that's definitely what it was used for. This year, it felt like it was a part of the bonding experience, which he spoke to in his State of the Union address, right? Where it's like, look, we're having guys sleep with random roommates. We're having them do these quizzes. The process starts now. Building the brotherhood is starting early. And the earlier that you can start that process, the better the transition is coming in January. Because I guarantee you we're going to have a 90% attrition rate that this 2024 class will be there come January. We had 3 guys out of the 2023 class that didn't make it in January. I wouldn't be surprised if we have, 2 to 3 who don't make it for whatever reason. Those things I don't have the answer to. But this class, I promise you, they're getting the same thing. They're going to be there in January, which is just you're getting ahead of the curve. It's small baby steps. It starts with the Grill at the Ville, right? Friday Night Lights is where it really starts. That had a small portion of guys come together, meet, hang out, chit-chat, etc. Then you got Grill at the Ville, and then you're there in January. By the time they get there in January, they're in sync with one another. Now, they're not all just a bunch of studs showing up in the middle of June saying, trying to figure this thing out. They are already in the Gator process, which has to excite you, which has to show you that the process where this is heading is really, really good. So that gets me excited. I love talking about it. And again, I think you guys are getting excited, right? You obviously being here on a Sunday afternoon, you're excited to hear what's going on and where things are headed. And I love that. I'm loving that the football energy is back because it's early and we're on that high right now. So I'm bullish on this season, Callie says. Billy First flat out said at SC Media Days, we have NFL guys on this team that no one is talking about. Billy has a grin on his face when he said that too. Again, I keep preaching on the Billy swagger. It feels on a different level this time. And it's not like the last time where I felt like he was trying to sell himself. He truly, genuinely believes it himself. For men, I think we can all agree and come to the consensus that, look, through life, we try to find ourselves and who we are as men. And through our adolescence, right, their early ages and probably even middle of the 20s, we're trying to prove that we're something. As we have our kids and our wife and our family develops, we finally kind of find ourselves and you quit worrying about what everybody else is thinking. That's where, in my opinion, Billy has found himself as coaching right now. It's that he's dialed in. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. He believes the process. He's going to do it regardless of what the outside noise says, and we're here to get it done. Princely is definitely NFL bound, boys. Love that young man. All right, boys, let's move on to the next order of business. Somebody, again, who I mentioned earlier, World Mac. This is somebody that I did not feel too confident about early on, even though we were in his top 3 or top 5. He's set to commit sometime this month. But now with the noise coming out, Josiah Davis, safety, 3-star commit, says, look, we want him. We're going after him. Makes me believe, like, look, that's good news. He was there this weekend on a big recruiting weekend there with all these recruits. I'm loving it. Again, Jamari Howard, who's somebody that we were targeting pretty heavily out of Michigan State, cornerback as well, is seeming to be out of the mix now because FSU, who has always been on the radar, is making a strong push for him. And I'm looking at On3 right now, and Florida State has taken the lead. He is the 15th ranked quarterback, so he is rated higher than World Mac, so that would be a big pickup for them after just landing Charles Lester III, the second ranked quarterback in the country. So that would be a huge pickup. And again, from the noise, we've got some FSU guys and FSU connections. They are not, humble in their way of approaching the situation. It does feel that Jamari Howard has shifted away from us. Again, Originally, he was supposed to be here at Grill for the Ville. We felt pretty good about him. Him, Xavier, and LG McCray, all three of them were intended to be at the Ville. None of them ended up being at Grill at the Ville. Mincy went to Miami. McCray went to Georgia, and now Howard to Florida State. The noise is that we feel okay about Mincy going to Miami and McCray about going to Georgia. Nobody's too concerned about it, but anytime you got Kirby in his ear, that's got to concern you a little bit. I don't feel nervous about Mincy going to Miami, but anything can happen. These kids are always changing their decisions. Let me see if anything has changed for Mincy on 3 here since he's been visiting. Still got him at 87. They're still feeling pretty confident on 3 for him to be landing at Florida. So interesting stuff there. I did see where, again, World Mac, I looked at his 247 profile. Will Fong's got a question mark. I think he had a crystal ball prediction at one point, but he's got a question mark. Sonny Ship has him predicted going to Texas. He is from Louisiana. Excuse me. World Mac's a top 13 quarterback, so he is rated higher than Jamari Howard. So that would be a huge improvement for the Florida Gators if we were able to swap out Howard for World Mac. And obviously you're watching his tape here, which we talked about with Charles Lesser too. A lot of it's wide receiver play. Not a big deal. I think that tells us that correlates with a good cornerback, somebody with good hands. That's just kind of how it is in high school. So if you guys are wondering why there's a lot of wide receiver highlights, that's just kind of is what it is. Top 4, top 3. Yeah. I can't remember if it was, he came out with top 4, top 3, and I know Auburn was in it. I thought, no, maybe it's Texas and LSU. There's another kid at Auburn. Texas and LSU, and I think I said he was going to be a Texas lock. That was my opinion on that. But look, last intel with him being there, and obviously the Josiah Davis coming out and saying, "Hey, we want him." Feeling more confident about it. That excites me. And again, with Jamari Howard visiting FSU, you got to think that this has got to be a top target. So Smith just arrived. They're a little early. I don't hate it, Dom. I don't hate it. LSU just got a commit last week for a DB. So, and look, but again, they've got Texas leaning that way, and Texas is definitely going to close strong. They're landing some big dogs. They stole DeAndre Robinson out from under our nose, so they're always going to be a threat that you got to keep in mind. That Texas money ain't no joke. So don't get ahead of ourselves too quickly with Ward on Mac. But you know what we got to do? We got to get the calculator out. We've got some news. We've got a change of names, a change of heart, and we're going to see where that puts us because Florida State's making a move here. They jumped up to, I think, top 10. Ranked 6 overall now currently. Not happy about it, but it is what it is. They're doing a good job. Getting the job done. Yeah, they're ranked 6th right now. Woo! 20 commits, ranked 6th. They landed the offensive lineman today. Average player of 90.97. We're sitting at 91.72. And they jumped above Clemson, leading the way in the ACC. Massive. And there's a lot of smoke about KJ Bolden possibly committing to Florida State, which would just shit. I mean, it's in between them or Georgia is the noise. And now Auburn. They said Auburn's in their top 2. He said that today. KJ Bolden said Auburn. Auburn is coming out of nowhere. Hugh Freeze has brought out the checkbooks, the strippers, and the cause. He's back at his old home, and he's ready to rock and roll. Hugh Freeze is doing some things. Stealing a 5-star commit from Georgia and a 5-star commit from Alabama. Look, you keep stealing from whoever the hell you want as long as you don't come up to Florida. You know what I'm saying? So I'm loving it. Auburn's ranked 17th. I know this isn't when we're talking about those guys, but it is just fun to watch this all break down with these other commits here. So Florida, let's get to the Florida calculator. Y'all know what your boy got to do. I got to whip it out. That's how we do things around here. We like to count our chickens before we hatch. Don't yell at me. All right, that's what we do. So we're sitting at a 277 rank right now, right? Look, this is going to be a big what if, and I understand that, okay? And some of you guys might get upset. But this is what we do here. If you're new to this, we count the it's like the lottery situation. You're counting your money before you got it. You're talking about how you're going to spend it when you probably won't win anyways, but it's still fun to do it. That's what we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to add Jeremiah Smith to the table now. The only reason why is because he's visiting again, and reason being,
Scared money don't make money, you know.
You got to close him. He's back in the house. You've got to close him, Billy. You can't let him leave without giving you a yes. That's where I'm at with this. We talked about this early June. We had Jubilee weekend. It was the first weekend of June. Everyone was comparing him to Urban. Urban wouldn't allow you to leave the campus without committing. I didn't mind him not doing it then. I respected him allowing them to go do their thing. But now, they've had their time to go search. I need to know. or we're moving on. You got to put some feet to the fire there, Billy. Adding Jeremiah Smith puts us at 287, boys and girls. 287 would catapult us above Ohio State, ranked second. Massive. Again, I think 292 is the highest class of all time. Big time stuff. We got Zay Mincy. We got to add. Again, he's still predicted to us. So until those things change, he's always going to be added on our list. That's how I view that, okay? So if you're wondering why, that is why. I always have a hard time finding him. Because like, he's Zay Mincy on some, he's Xavier Mincy on others. Lord. Let's do LJ McCray while we're here. Because that's somebody who I feel like because Zay Mincy and McCray are kind of a combo deal, it feels like. Those things have always burned me, but, that's kind of where we're at right now. Now, we would always add, it's Xavier with a Z, that's why. See? I'm an idiot. We've been adding Jamari Howard to this situation, but with the recent change of events, you got to think World Max got to be in that list now, okay? So with the additions that I just added with Zay Mincy, who we are crystal ball to, we're leading the way right now in LG McCray, where there has been a lot of noise. Felt good about LJ. He had a surprise visit this past week. Again, still went to Georgia. It's always going to be concerned there, but I'm still feeling positive, right? That puts us at 295. That's a world record class for Florida Gators. And let's add World Mac. Again, this kind of puts in that Jeremiah Smith category. Last minute possibility there. That puts us at 298 with 25 commits. And maybe we get one or two more. So we're sitting at a 300 class. Georgia's still at 310 with 25 commits. Overall rating of 93. I mean, that's going to be a hell of catching Georgia this year is going to be brutal. That just is what it is, right? But how many spots do we have left? I think we have 25 or 26, I think is what it is. I think I've talked with a few guys. It's like 25, 26, unless there's a few. We're planning to finish 25, not including like a Smith or like a Colin Simmons. So if one of those guys happen to go, you know what, I am headed this direction, we're going to figure out to make some room. So we'll see. So my brother is the QB for the 7-7 team that Wardle plays for. Good stuff. Good stuff there. But look, that would be huge. 298. If those guys that we just mentioned puts that a 25 class, fills us in with the wide receiver. I think wide receiver, we would be set. Defense, we would be set. Offensive lineman and running back, I would love to have closed one more running back and offensive lineman simply due to depth. But the transfer portal opens a lot of things up that didn't open the things up in the year before. So you may not have to complete a class like you once did before. Okay? We did not flip Smith, guys. This is all hypothetical here. Let's not get carried away. Excuse me there. A little bit of carryover from the past week. But, look, good stuff. Over 375 people here on a Sunday afternoon. Welcome to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that I have. It feels good to be back in the football talk. Please drop a like. It lets YouTube know that you guys are enjoying the content. Even though you're not commenting, you're just hanging out, chilling, maxing all cool. That's fine. But it lets me know that I'm doing a good job. Lets me know that, again, YouTube lets YouTube know that you guys are enjoying it and everybody's happy. And allows for us to keep this thing free and to keep this thing rolling and rocking and rolling. And eventually maybe we can produce even more content for you guys and dial it in. So, quick reminder, this weekend on August 5th, there will be the open practice in Gainesville for Florida Victorious members. We're working on trying to hopefully get there, possibly stream some of it. We'll know more tomorrow. Hopefully that does happen. That would be great for us to be able to be a part of that. I think it's great that Billy and Napier and the boys are doing that. I think it's great for the players to be able to interact with the fans. They didn't have as many events this summer as they did last year. And I think, look, there's pros and cons to it. I think the Victorious is trying to, settle their area and figure out their way they're headed. But also, too, if you want to become a member of the Florida Victorious, be sure to use the code HIGHTOP when you sign up. You get 20% off your first month. That's huge. It helps us as well and also gives you a discount. So the more that you guys use our code signing up, let's the Victorious know that, hey, these guys are working for us. Let's go show them some love, and we get you guys some more great content like we have with the Florida Victorious. So everybody wins. Everybody wins. And I think we can show that Victorious is doing some work with how things have been going on. No more Ross. No, I haven't heard much about Ross. That kind of went haywire. It went down a little bit. But it's always fun to kind of figure out what could be, right? Some of these guys, right, they could be come down to the wire and see how the season's going to go and what Billy's able to close in on. And maybe we can have one last rush before the season starts, and maybe we'll flip some more guys than we're thinking. So we'll see, though. But we have our show, another show later tonight. It's our NFL show. Again, I know a lot of you guys don't like NFL, but if you do, come hang out with the professor and I at 7:35. It's a great show. It's getting better and better each week. But love seeing you guys here. Again, appreciate you guys coming out and hanging out with me on this Sunday afternoon. Almost 400 people in the chat, which is absolutely incredible. I can't thank you guys enough. I know I do that a lot on these shows, but it's very humbling and very, I appreciate it very much that you guys, tune in to watch my ugly mug, talk to you guys on a daily. So appreciate your love again. Like and subscribe. We do have a coffee brand that we're working on, a partnership. So there will be some high top coffee flavors coming to a store near you or online. Really excited about that. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. A lot of big things that are happening, boys and girls. Turn the bell on, subscribe, show some love, and drop a like. We'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have a great Sunday. God bless. Until next time, I'm Sheldon.
I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show. I've got these things that I can't let go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never own. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that